Mr. Doggett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I believe that each of our witnesses has offered valuable insights. The fact that we have differing opinions on these issues and we can have them discussed here is how we eventually perfect where we need to be. I am disappointed that John Ahrensmeyer, representing the small business majority, was denied an opportunity to testify today. I believe that it is important to continue, particularly given the lateness of our endeavors here, to have the most diverse points of view reflected here as we consider this, and I will continue respectfully urging that as we have other hearings. Ms. Mears, I agree with you that depreciation schedules can be confusing and that it's helpful to small business to be able to expense capital investments. As you are, I'm no doubt aware, under Section 179, small businesses can already expense $500,000 every year, which is a lot of sewing machines, even though I'm sure yours is not the kind that my wife has. I think that being able to expense every year $500,000 is a good step forward. Our depreciation schedules may need to be reviewed, but the idea that every manufacturer in the country can expense every dollar of capital investment is a rather radical change in our tax code and one that I have some concern about. I don't think that it would benefit small business in any way because the small businesses can already automatically expense. Mr. Vanderwall, I particularly agree with the concerns that you expressed that the trade-off for automatic expensing for the very largest companies in the country would be to deny interest expense on debt for farmers and ranchers and many of the small businesses that I represent. You know, when I go out and meet with the Southside Chamber of Commerce in San Antonio or the Hispanic Chamber in Austin, what I'm hearing from these small businesses is one of the major obstacles they face to growth is access to capital. They work with the SBA or they work with an independent bank or with groups that we have there like People Fund and Lift Fund to try to get access to capital. And the notion that having gotten access to capital for these small businesses that they won't be able to deduct the interest on their loans, I think will have big impact. I believe that there is a debt bias in our tax code, but to go again to a radical step of saying we're not going to permit these interest deductions because we'll have automatic expensing, I find to be very problematic. And Ms. Boehnig, I appreciate your reference to the Tax Foundation. This is a group that is viewed here, I think, as being a Republican-leaning group, but I think that it offers a lot of wisdom about the pass-through. I believe and share your view that we need equal tax treatment for all companies, but it is the Tax Foundation itself, the source that you mentioned, that has said, quote, the pass-through carve-out primarily incentivizes tax avoidance, not job creation. In fact, nearly a third of the estimated cost of this tax break would come from the tax dodging bonanza that would follow it. And just to give you an example, while you're here as small businesses, one of the companies that is entitled to a pass-through is somebody that I respect very much, and that's Michael Bloomberg. He was interviewed recently on 60 Minutes. He apparently has been so successful, he's the 8th richest man in the world, but he doesn't have a corporation. He has a partnership that passes through his income. I think he's now worth $47 billion. And so when we make decisions about pass-throughs, we're not just talking about mom and pop enterprises, we're talking about very wealthy individuals, and if there aren't safeguards in there, this will just become the latest way that some people avoid paying the fair share of taxes that they are entitled, that they should be doing to finance our national security. Ms. Wong, I would just ask you if having additional tax breaks, a territorial system, for example, will be of any benefit to small businesses.
So a territorial tax system, simply put, means a rate of 0 on multinationals' foreign profits. and that would be of no benefit whatsoever to domestic or small businesses and could in fact hurt them. And this is a key proposal that is in President Trump's current tax plan. The problem is that it would give those multinationals a big incentive to artificially shift their profits offshore in order to get that zero tax rate. That puts them at a competitive advantage to domestic and small businesses who don't have access to high-priced lawyers, who don't have foreign subsidiaries, and who don't want to engage in tax avoidance as a business strategy.
Thank you, Ms. Wong.